everyone again. Welcome to SeLah's Spot. I apologize for that interruption. The enemy just don't want you all to grab this information regarding marrying to carry. So, as I was saying earlier, just a short recap on what Ms. JaVon and I spoke about is we discussed carrying and supporting our spouse or our mate in the vision that they have. Whether it's your spouse or is it yourself that may have the vision, is now understanding who is the correct mate, the proper mate for you to be in covenant with. So, just want to give you all a few pointers and some advice and something for you all to go back in and study. For the ladies, how to be the best wife. Well, it's in the book of Proverbs 31. 31 verse 10 through 31. We talk about the wife of noble character. And we all know about this scripture. I mean, it says, a wife of noble character who can find. She's worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. She's a wise woman, people. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. Now, this is a woman that's prudent with the things that her spouse has provided. She lacks there's no waste. Okay, verse 16, it says, she considers a field and buys it. Oh, she's a businesswoman. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. That's something else to talk about, ladies. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grabs the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. Now that's another thing of the women, the nonprofit women. Okay. Absolutely. When it snows, she has no fear for her household. Yeah, that's a woman that can ride for whatever. Okay. For all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. Oh, she knows how to keep a house too. Yeah. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Oh, she make it look so easy. She wears it well. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies and merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. Yeah. Wow. That's a woman. Yeah. She can laugh at the days to come. Oh, she has a sense of humor too. Wow. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She doesn't tear her house down. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Again, she's very prudent. Yeah. She gets ready. She prepares for hard times. Yeah. She doesn't spend the last. Her children arise and call her blessed. She's a role model. Who doesn't want to be like their mother? Yeah. Who doesn't want to marry a woman like his mother? Yeah. Her husband also, and he praises her. Oh, that's her trophy. That's his trophy. Right. Yeah. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Wow. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her and let her works bring her praise at the city gate.
A Proverbs 31 woman.
That's a Proverbs 31
A Proverbs 31 woman. Real quickly, Miss Renita, we just hopped back on. Listen, I want to give some shout outs, but we have a really special shout out on tonight. Yes. First off, Miss Andrea's back on. Janine Scott, Mercedes, Ralph Mariano, Dwayne Levy, Marie Washington, Therese Ratcliffe, Roland Walker, Balan Goolsby, Catherine Levy, Trent Bergeron, and happy birthday to Miss JaVon's mother. Miss Joy Butler is with us in the building on tonight. Yes. Miss Butler, we love you. Mwah. We thank you so much for the gift that you have given us. And Miss JaVon, me personally, I thank you for all the wisdom that you have given me. Yes. And I just want to wish you a happy birthday from the bottom of my heart. I love you, and I wish you many more, Miss Butler. Wow. So thank you for joining us with your presence on tonight on your birthday. We love you. Yes. And we just thank you so much, man. Much love to Miss Joy Butler in the building on tonight. Yes, absolutely. She said thanks. Miss Butler, we love you. We love you. Yes. Absolutely. I saw you joined. I was like, okay, I can't let this go by without wishing her a happy birthday. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, Miss Renita, now, I sat down, and I listened to the episode on last week, and man, you guys, and I saw we had a lot of people who had never watched SeLah's Spot before, and I saw that there was a lot of engagement on last week, and a lot of people, they related to what you guys talked about. Yeah. So kind of just real quickly to our audience on tonight, I know you've already given a recap, but just talk about what did last week's topic mean, to you, and how do you think, God prepared you to give that message to people? Because like Ms. JaVon talked about on last week, from a scriptural standpoint, of course she's there, but all of the technicalities, as she said, that's something that you are more of an expert on. So just, what did that do for you on last week?
Actually, I was preaching to myself even further. Sometimes we become so complacent with being married for 14 years, and we actually forget about the roles and the duties that we should be doing every day. Yeah. So when we talked about marrying to carry, I had to think, am I really supporting my spouse? Correct. Is my spouse really supporting me? Are we together on a team? Yes. To carry out the vision? Correct. Are we propelling each other? Or are we just getting so, like I say, complacent with the mundane, the 9 to 5? Oh, we just wake up, tomorrow is Tuesday, tomorrow is Saturday, it's Sunday. Yeah. What productive thing have I done with my life? Correct. What have we said? What have we accomplished even in our marriage? Yeah. Yes. I mean, marriage is more than just the house and the white picket fence and the 2 cars, the 3 cars, and the 3-car garage.
I have a note on that, but keep going. I have a note on that. Remember that part.
Okay. So marriage is a little bit more than that. It's about looking for the vision and your purpose. Just the covenant of marriage is a ministry. Yes. It is a purpose. So who are you sharing with? Whose lives are you changing? Correct. Why is it that the world is just so against marriage now? So are you going to be the light to the people? Are we married folks going to be the light to people to say, you know what? Marriage is a beautiful thing.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have Ray Williams in the building. Hey, Asia Walker, BJ Nelson. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Man, listen, y'all put some hearts on the screen, man. Comment. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Make sure you share the video. The topic tonight is Married to Carry. This is part 2. Yes. This is part 2. Now, after the night, if you didn't watch on last week, you can go on Ms. JaVon's page, go ahead and scroll and catch part 1. All of these things are going to correlate, okay? And all of these things are going to be able to help you guys. Blessings, absolutely, BJ. My uncle Dwayne Levy, 3-fold car, husband, wife, and God. Now, we got some notes on that. Absolutely. We're gonna tackle all of these things, and we're gonna also dive into another perspective of it as well. Some things that we may have not talked about on last week. Now, Miss Renisha, I have a couple of notes. So married to carry. Supporting your spouse with your vision. Okay? So I want to bring it back for just a second. Because, a lot of times in marriage, what I've observed, it seems that a lot of people marry to marry.
Right.
Just to marry.
Yeah.
Not married to carry, but married to marry.
Yeah.
So, one thing I wanted to ask you, and from your perspective, just answer this in your own words. For a person who is unmarried, and you guys talked about this a little bit last week, for a person who is unmarried, what are some of the things that you should look for if you're, in tune with what God has for you? What are some of the things that you should look for as an unmarried person? Now listen, I'm going to be listening to you. Now I'm asking you this for the audience, but look, I'm tuned into you like this, all right?
Well, I just answered that question again for the ladies. The wife of noble character, which is found in Proverbs 31, verse 10 through 31. And as I was reading that, we talked about she's a woman. She doesn't mind using her hands to prepare. She's a woman that will help you save money, that will help you build you into your vision, grow you into your vision. She will undergird you into your vision. She's behind the scenes. So you're on stage.
Correct.
Your wife is going to be that person. She's handling all the money. She's doing the bookkeeping. She's answering the calls. She's your assistant. She is warding off she's the watcher of the enemies. Okay? So
the helpmate.
The helpmate.
Yeah.
The helpmate.
Absolutely.
She hears from God. And let me just kind of go back to it, because in the Proverbs 31 woman it says charm is deceptive. So ladies, you can't just go by your looks.
Right.
You gotta have a little bit more than that.
Correct.
It says, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Correct. So, you ask what kind of woman? She got to have beauty. She has charm. She has wisdom. She know how to work the numbers. She know how to multiply.
Correct.
But does she serve the Lord?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does she have wisdom? Not just her just natural wisdom, but does she have her wisdom from God? I don't care how many degrees she got. Right. Does she have wisdom from God?
Absolutely. So looking for the God in a person.
That's right.
So many times we can get trapped into looks. Yes. And like you talked about on last week a lot, about status and where a person may be in life.
Yes.
But that person may not be good for your overall purpose.
That's right.
That person may have been sent for something else, but not to necessarily be your helpmate, to not be your companion in a romantic relationship. That person may be there for something else, but you're looking past what God has put that person in your life for. Yes. Not for the purpose of being in a romantic relationship. So, like we talk about all the time, being in constant contact with God, being in constant consultation with God, and understanding, each person that comes into your life is in your life for a purpose.
Yes.
However, we have to be able to identify that purpose by being in constant relationship and constant consultation with God. So, Ms. Renitra, you talked a little bit about the white picket fence and the 4-car garages and the big house. I want to bring it to modern terms, I guess you would say. Now me, I'm a millennial. Okay, I spend a lot of time on social media. I love Twitter. I love Instagram. I love Facebook. One thing that you see, whether it's in with celebrity relationships, whether it's someone who social media holds in high regard, you'll see in the comments, people will say #relationship goals, right? You've seen that before, right? Yeah. They'll look at a picture of a, celebrity couple living their best life, riding around in a Rolls Royce, a big rock on, you know, the wife's finger, and they'll say relationship goals. But what really are relationship goals? What should be our goals, you know, when we commit ourselves, you know, in a relationship? You know, whether we're just starting or whether you're 15 years down the line. Now, I'm of the belief, granted, I've been in relationships, but I'm young. I haven't been in marriage. I haven't been on the verge of marriage. I'm of the belief that regardless of what stage you're at in your relationship, the goals and the overall things that you should long for should be along those same lines.
It sure should.
You know, whether you're talking about trust, you know, and faith in one another, and you know, obviously, the obvious one, and putting God first, and making sure that God is the center of your relationship. And if God is the center of your relationship shall not fail. Yes. What do you have to say to young people who, I guess you would say, long for that, but society's standards have kind of twisted what relationship goals really are?
Well, it's kind of funny that you, and I don't want to give my age, but I understand that we're in a world of, you know, social media.
Correct.
But we got to also understand what's behind that picture.
Right.
That people are posting. Is it really the truth?
Correct. The lifestyle, the picture.
Are they really happy? Sometimes it kind of sounds like thirst to me.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, but I still say that even in the word is always the truth. I mean, it's always within. I don't care if it's 2020. It still holds true.
Correct.
To our everyday lives.
Correct.
So, what are relationship goals?
What are the relationship goals?
I mean, ultimately, it's to find that person, and I'm not going to say that can complete you, because I believe that you should go into a marriage already complete.
Absolutely.
Can someone enhance you? I would say that. Maybe.
I agree.
But you should always know who you are. And no one should complete you. They just enhance you. They, like we say, they carry you.
Yes.
They propel you. And then when I say carry, I don't mean that, you know, you're hooked up with somebody who don't want nothing, but you want them to want something.
Right.
You all going in, you know, you all moving.
In unison.
Yes, in unison.
Absolutely. I want to piggyback off of that. We got a couple of comments.
Yeah.
First off, I want to give a couple more shout outs.
Yes.
Joseph Coco, Jason Jap Jones, Brianna Nicole, Quentin Johnson. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Mr. Ray said, and this is funny that he says this, she wakes up the king in me.
Yes.
She wakes up the king in me. That actually was one of my lines in our previous stage production, if it had not been for the Lord. What my character said, you know, the character that my character was dating at the time, she wakes up the king in me. She makes me want to go out and search for God and find God, so that God can be ever present in our relationship.
Yeah.
So that when she may be only able to give 10%, I can pick up. You know what I mean? And continue to, like you said, move in unison.
Yeah.
Move in unison. Craig Gant, thank you for joining us. BJ Nelson says, the one that can help your purpose. What you guys talked about on last week.
That's right.
You know, not someone who drags you down, not someone who, you know, wants you to just stay in the house. And, you know, one thing I see all the time, you know, people are laid up all day and that's relationship goals. No, we want to aim for more. We want to go for more. We want that person to help us to not only continue to identify our God-given purpose, but move towards it. Someone who can help, like you say, enhance us.
Yes.
Not complete us, but enhance us, because, you know, you want to go into something already completed. I have a note on that as well. But I want to say this real quickly. You know, I was listening to something, and it talked about, as I was preparing for the night, it talked about how, you know, God created you know, all of these different things. He created the animals. He created the ocean. He created, you know, nature. And, you know, he said, that's good. But when he created man, he realized that there was something else that needed to be created in order to complete that, in order to bring that together. When he created Adam, he created Eve to bring that together.
Yeah, Adam had so much, Adam got bored. He did all the, you know, what I'm trying to say. He dealt with the animals. Correct. He did all what he was supposed to do.
Correct.
And God said,
there's something missing.
Yes, something missing. I have to find Adam a helpmeet.
Absolutely. So I say that to say, guys, I say that to say, you know, God always knows the situation. And like we say here all the time, man, and like the word says, man, God's timing is always perfect. Perfect. Yes. Do not rush yourself into a situation that you are not ready for. So I want to say this. Are we listening to God regarding our relationships and regarding maybe the lack of relationship? Are we listening to God and what he has for us in this moment? You see, sometimes we get stuck or we get complacent. We're not complacent. We get impatient in our singleness. We get impatient in our singleness. I'm speaking to the single people right now. We get impatient and we rush into something without being ready. I'm going to real quickly. So every relationship, every friendship, everything that comes into our life, it has a purpose. So we need to be evaluating every single thing. Sometimes we may want something with someone, and that may not be the purpose for them in our lives. That's why I always say we consult with God always before we make a move on anything. Go ahead.
You're working it too hard. It's like you trying to make it work.
Correct.
And something's just not right.
Correct.
I think there should be a flag there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always
okay, she may have, and I know that we always say, well, you may not get your ideal man, you know, but I think that when it comes to purpose in life, God will send that fit person for your life.
Absolutely.
So if it just doesn't make sense, if she got 3 out of 5, she may not be the one.
Correct. Absolutely. And I was listening, as Miss JaVon was talking about on last week. Shout out to V Fluffy and Famous Johnson. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, we're talking about Married to Carry Part 2 tonight. If you're watching, go ahead. Let us know where you're watching from. Go ahead and comment. Make sure you put some hearts on the screen. Share the video. We are so glad you are with us on tonight. You could be anywhere else, doing anything else, watching anything else. But you are here with us on tonight watching SeLah's Spot. And for that, we say thank you. And we hope that God is blessing you real good. Tokyo Faison just joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Miss Renitra, I have another, I guess you would say, pop culture, reference. Juanita Santiago joined us. That's Phoenix family right there. That's Church Stars Network family. Thank you for joining us. BJ says all the way from LaPlace, Louisiana. Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely. We right down the road. So, back to speaking to the single people real quick. To the people who may be rushing into something. Here's another pop culture reference. And Ms. Renisha, you may have seen this, you may have not. Like I said, I spend a lot of time on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So and let me know if you've heard this reference. Shoot your shot. Have you heard that? So here's what the younglings say these days, okay? You know, if you see somebody you like, or if you see multiple people you like, you shoot your shot, right? You shoot your shot. It's basically like you're going in the DMs. You're going in the inbox. It's the new school way of approaching someone, right? The kids these days, they don't approach people in person. They go in the DMs. They go in the inbox. Kiana B, my sister, is watching. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope that God is blessing you real good. So I named this Shooting Your Shot. Okay, now I want to talk real quickly about shooting your shot. Because listen, I've seen success stories about shooting your shot. Of course, we live in the digital age. Sometimes it's just like that, okay? But a lot of times, we shoot our shot, and we shoot so much that we put ourselves in a position where we hurt people. So imagine yourself, Ms. Renisha, imagine if I blindfold you, right? And I give you a bow and arrow, and I keep loading you up, and you just keep shooting. You just keep shooting, hoping that maybe you find the one, hoping that you hit something at some point. Well, when you take the blindfold off, Ms. Renisha, you're going to realize that you done damaged a million things before you find the one thing that you may have been shooting for. So in this day and age, my mom said, Bryson says, hey, Uncle K, that's my nephew. Shout out to my nephew, Bryson. He is watching me on the spot tonight. So a lot of people are out there. They keep shooting their shot. Why are they shooting their shot? I had to sit back and ask myself this. Because, you know, I've been in a relationship for a pretty decent amount of time, and I've been single for the last couple of years. And sometimes, you know, I'm a person, I enjoy consistency. I enjoy, you know, comfort. I find comfort in consistency. Over these last couple of years, I've been dealing with being single, with, you know, being alone. But listen, just because you're single does not mean you are alone. Just because you are single does not mean you are lonely. So don't make yourself so vulnerable where you're just shooting that bow and arrow. You're just shooting that bow and arrow, because eventually you're going to hurt so many people. You're going to damage so many people. And in turn, you will hurt yourself. And now you've damaged yourself so much that you'll never, be able to patch yourself up enough where you're ready for a relationship. So I say this. Go ahead.
And you know, you say shooting your shot. What are you really shooting for?
Correct.
What's your purpose of shooting
your
shot? Are you just looking at the physique and the smile?
Absolutely.
I mean, is this person really real? You know, that profile picture says one thing, but do you really know this person?
Absolutely. And you know, I did some research on the topic. Man, listen, you know, we all see in you know, with social media and with, you know, just being in our different communities, we all see it and we all hear different things. Here's one stat that I looked up. About 50% of marriages in the United States end up in divorce. I wonder why. You know, I wonder why.
Like you say, you're marrying to marry.
Yeah. You're not marrying to character.
That's right.
You're not marrying, you're not, like I said in the previous thing, you're not taking into consideration, are we listening to God regarding our relationship? We're aiming for those relationship goals, those social media relationship goals. So, you know, the things that we may see on social media, we want to post the cars, and we're marrying for, like you said on last week, sometimes we're marrying or getting in relationships for status. You know, we're looking at the trips out of state. We're looking at the material things, not knowing that if we marry according to what God has given us and the purpose that God has given us and the word that he has given us, we're gonna live so happy. We're gonna live a joyful life.
You're gonna be whole.
Absolutely.
Okay, just posting a picture, look what I got, look what trip I went on, but are you truly whole?
Absolutely.
Are you truly complete?
Absolutely. Wow, my uncle just said something very, very profound. A lot of people are marrying for convenience.
That's right.
You talked about that on last week. Go ahead and expand upon that a little bit.
Well, convenience. Oh, well, I'm not dating him unless I know he got good credit.
Correct.
Because we got to go get this house, and I got to get my Mercedes. I got to get all this. Your credit may be jacked up.
Correct.
But you want your spouse to have the best credit to get you all these things. Marrying for convenience. Oh, well, I just want to, you know, it just looks good on paper. You know, I can't do this unless I'm married. So, I mean, that's just status. Material things.
Absolutely. And things that are not of God, quite frankly.
Do you really love this person, or you just love them for what they can provide for you?
Absolutely.
And it should go both ways. If you expect this man to have the good credit and provide you with this car, why don't you go buy some things, and why don't you get your credit together? Why don't you go buy your spouse a car? I mean, that's just everybody may think differently of it, but I feel like whatever my husband can give me, I would want to, whether I do it or not, I would want to be able to do the same for him when the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. Someone, Charmaine Carroll just said, marry Jesus and have it all. Absolutely.
Yes.
Shout out to my aunt, Linda Francis is in the building, watching
Yes.
from Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Thank you, T. Appreciate you for joining us on tonight.
Hey, Charmaine.
So Charmaine says, marry Jesus and have it all.
Yes.
Now I like that because we do have some scriptures.
Yes.
Now you have something that I want you to get into. Which one is it? This one right here. Now before we get into that one, I want to talk about it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about shooting our shot. We talking about being so sick of singleness.
Oh,
Now,
yes.
here's my thing. You know what I'm saying? Now listen, sometimes I get bored, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that me being a person of great vision, God has given me a lot. I can't have anybody riding along with me.
Right.
I can't have just anybody riding along with me because the enemy will have people in your life that will destroy you if you're not careful.
Yes.
If you haven't consulted with God regarding the relationships that are in your life, if you haven't carefully evaluated everything that is in your life. So you have to be careful. Don't just get into something just because you're bored or just because you feel alone. You are not alone. Like Charmaine said, marry Jesus and have it all. And in due time, in that perfect timing, that person will come along. Okay? I know people who married at 18, and I know people who didn't marry until 50 plus. Okay? But as long as this union has God as the center of it,
yes,
these people will be happy for an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
That marriage will not fail because God will not fail and God's word will not fail.
Yes.
So with that being said, Mr. Ray said all temporary. Absolutely. If you don't have God in the middle of that union, it is all temporary. If you don't have God in the middle of anything that you're doing, it is temporary. But God's word is everlasting. So we have to make sure in anything that we put ourselves in, especially when it comes to a relationship, especially when it comes to something as serious as a marriage, God is in the middle of it at all times. In this day and age, man, marriage is just, people looking at marriage like it's just a regular old thing.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just something that, is here today and it's gone tomorrow.
Right. And I did a little research on that,
Mm-hmm.
Talking about covenant marriage versus traditional marriage. And,
Go ahead and speak to me.
And let me just reference where it was from a article on LegalZoom.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of broke down. The funny part was, it's only 3 states in the United States that currently recognize a covenant marriage.
Wow.
But even in that covenant marriage, I'm still questioning, are people really taking the word marriage and covenant seriously?
Seriously, absolutely.
So let me just, traditional marriage. Now this is for the people that just say, I want to do me. And look, I have been to some weddings, and it's kind of embarrassing. I've been to weddings where I'm telling you, it's the reception.
I got something
and
on
they
that
already having disagreements and say, well, I could just go get this marriage annulled. We still in our grace periods. So why did you get married?
Yeah.
But before I get into that, I mean, it's like we have this mindset of, as easy as I got into it, I can just get on out.
Absolutely.
Of it. So they talk about, according to LegalZoom, they say a traditional marriage or a contract marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a couple who need only to purchase a marriage license and obtain 2 witnesses and have a state license agent to perform the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
But should the marriage go bad, a divorce can be obtained relatively easy through no-fault divorce laws.
And this is
according to the legal terms of according
a contract marriage.
A contract marriage. What they call the traditional marriage.
Correct.
I think we have a lot of people that live in these traditional marriage mindsets.
Correct.
Oh, well, I don't like him today. He just changed. Of course you're going to change. But are you trying to understand your spouse and what changed or what's leading him to this change?
Yes.
Or are you just going to say, you know what? I'm not dealing. I didn't sign up for this. I'm just going to go ahead on and just leave. He's just getting on my nerves.
Right. Contract marriage.
Contract marriage.
Before you get into covenant marriage, let me give a couple of shout outs. Corey Hutchinson, Nikki Keeping It Real Beckett, Singleton Lillian, and Ashley Turner just joined us. Thank you guys so much for joining us on tonight. Hope God is blessing you real good. Listen, we're talking about marriage on tonight. Married to Carry. This is part 2. Okay, on last week, Ms. JaVon and Ms. Renitra, they dove into a lot. On this week, we are doing the same. Make sure you stay tuned with us on tonight. And also go back to last week so you can get the full everything that we talked about. Of course, last week and this week, we got some different perspectives going on. We got some different perspectives. So Ms. Renitra just explained what a contract marriage is. Ms. Renitra, go ahead and tell them about the covenant marriage.
Now again, this is according to the law.
Correct.
Of whatever state you're in. So what they consider as, and since we're in the state of Louisiana, I'm just going to read what the law of Louisiana says. So under the Louisiana law, a covenant marriage is one that is entered into by a man and a woman who agreed to be married for their lifetime. Now, legal covenant marriages are available. I mentioned these 3 states. Right now is Arkansas, Arizona, and Louisiana.
Okay.
But there are conditions, even in this covenant marriage by the law, that allows you to say, all right, it's okay to go ahead and divorce your spouse. And these are the grounds for divorce that they will allow. Adultery, commitment of felony or sentence of death or imprisonment, abandonment of matrimonial domicile for a year, and refusal to return. So again, you're just giving them the right of way to just say, you know what, I'm not doing this marriage thing. I'm out of here for a year. And after that year, we can just go ahead on and sign off on this marriage. Number 4, it can be also physical or sexual abuse. Well, that's something serious. Number 5, it can be separate. You just have to separate for 2 years, And then separation from 1 year from date of execution of separation agreement. So those are the terms of what they consider as a covenant marriage by law.
Yes.
So, again, is God even in that?
Yeah. So that's why we have to make sure we're prepared.
Yes.
We have to make sure we're prepared.
Why even get into something that you're so easily ready to get out of?
Correct. Now, I want to say something about, you mentioned something about weddings and the state of weddings today, receptions. Now, I heard a word on last week, and it talked about what we invite into our spirit, right? So, of course, we all know what we allow to constantly be around us eventually is going to come knocking at the door. Eventually it's going to come trying to sizzle through the cracks, right? So, of course, we go to a lot of wedding receptions. And, a lot of times we see, behavior and things that are not of God at the wedding reception after we just said our vows.
Right.
I guess you would say, I can't figure out a better word, ratchetness.
Yeah.
Things that would not suggest, if I was just to walk in here, that this is a wedding reception for 2 people who just said vows to be together for better or worse.
Yeah.
So, I would challenge people to, just be mindful of the things we invite, whether that's the music that's played, whether that's the activities that are done at the wedding or in the events leading up to the wedding, because you're committing yourself to something for a lifetime.
That's right.
So what are we really inviting into our spirits by, doing these traditional activities?
Right.
Or listening and inviting these things into our spirits that are of the devil, that are of Satan.
Right.
What are we really, catapulting ourselves into? What you got to say about that?
What that reminds me of, even on the intro song that was played on SeLah's spot, it says, when I found you,
Yeah.
I forgot about, I say goodbye to everyone else.
Yes.
I say goodbye to all of the past relationships. I say goodbye to the exes.
Yeah.
I say goodbye to the people that means no good in my life.
Correct.
That's not sending me into the forward positive direction. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, when you find love, you decide that I'm going to change some things. You got to make a lot of changes. You got to change the people you're around.
Correct. Your habits.
Family, friends, whoever.
Yeah.
Whoever does not support the marriage, the union that you decided to be in.
Correct.
That the person that you love, you got to live for you and your spouse.
Absolutely.
You got to live for your ministry. You have to live for your covenant.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, a lot of people, you know, you see it all the time, and you hear about it all the time. Once again, guys, I've never been married. I've never been on the verge of getting married. You know, so this is a whole different ball game. I'm speaking, you know, from things I've seen, things I've observed. But, you know, one common thing, you know, a lot of times people are, like we talked about earlier, they're so sick of singleness, right? That they jump into something they are not ready for, and they live in a marriage, but they're still doing their own thing. So that's what you just talked about a little bit. You know, you're still doing your own thing. You're still, you know, just living for yourself, and not considering the other part of this union.
That's right.
Right? You're not considering the other part of this union. You're one at this point. So everything that you do, it has an impact, and it has some backlash. It has, every action has a reaction.
Yes.
So that's something that we always have to keep in mind when you're in a marriage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you know what I want to say on that? I recommend everyone who is considering marriage, hook up with your pastor or some counselor. I recommend premarital counseling. You know, you don't understand. We're so used to our singleness where we don't know how to actually be married.
Correct.
I know I love this person, but now how do I learn how to consider this person in every decision that I make?
Correct.
I highly recommend premarital counseling.
Absolutely.
So that will, for the people who may not have the role model, you may have come from a single family, single parent household. So you didn't have that example of how marriage, what is a good marriage.
Yeah.
You didn't even have an example of what is a bad marriage.
Right.
But you need to learn how to connect, how to be what we call it, the cord.
Yeah.
How to tie in our lives and just, you know, dwell within each other. How to live for each other, but separately.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, Ms. Renitra, shout out to my cousin Nakia Chopin is watching. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Renitra, you know, we've talked about both ends tonight. We've talked about singleness, preparing for marriage. We've talked about being married. We've talked about what to look for in marriage. You know, so I want to speak real quick, and we're not going to be too much longer, guys, but we got to get this off. You know, so for me personally, guys, all right, so listen, and this is real personal, but, well, not real personal, but, okay, so listen. I got in a relationship, Ms. Renisha, at 13 years old, right? That relationship lasted up until 2 years ago, okay? So, shoot, how old am I? I'll be 24, all right? So, this was an 8-year relationship. Now, me and my ex, we're still great friends, right? We're still great friends. What I've been struggling with over these 2 years of being in my singleness, now I'm not alone, but just being in my singleness, I will say this. You know, my girlfriend, she grew with me in my vision. She grew with me as I moved around and as I started to develop myself as Kay Levy, and I started to, be with SeLah's Productions. She was able to do that, right? Since then, for me, it is very difficult to, and mind you, I'm not out here, looking with a flashlight. I'm not shooting my shot. However, I will say this, you know, it can be difficult when you're in vision to find someone who's capable to be able to ride with that, who's able to, deal with a busy schedule, to be able to deal with somebody who's always either at work, at school, at SeLah's spot, in meetings with Miss JaVon, doing acting coaching, or just wanting to have time for himself sometime, or having time to write songs and do albums and perform. So I say all that to say this. I'm at a point right now, personally, where I'm enjoying this because I'm getting the perspective of someone who has wisdom, someone who's been married for 14 years, learning more about marriage through the scripture and being able to sit back and just think and consult with God and understand, God, regardless of what has happened in my past, regardless of what is happening now, I know for my future that you have something set for me and someone that will not hinder my vision, but to continue to uplift me. So I'm speaking to all of the single people out there right now who is looking for the person who is constantly shooting their shot and maybe shooting at the wrong people. You may be inviting people in their life who is there to destroy you, who is there to hinder your vision. I'm here to tell you, wait on God.
Yes.
Wait on God and wait for what God has for you.
Yes.
Of course, we do have the scripture here that says that, two is better than one, but you have to make sure that is the right person that is with you on your journey.
Yes.
You have to make sure that is the right person with you to help you continue to develop and enhance and run towards that vision and run towards that person. So understand that just because you're single, it does not mean you are alone. Don't go with a blindfold and aimlessly shooting your shot, because you are inviting evil into your life. You are inviting people who may be coming to destroy you into your life. Wait on God, because God will put that person in your life. If, and listen, God may not have marriage for everyone. Everyone may not be meant to get married, but if marriage is meant for you, God will have that person for you, but you have to make sure that you're ready first.
Yes.
This is something that we haven't spoken on